Thanks for checking out my video. This is Drawing with John, and today I'm going to do something a little different. My friend Patrick asked me if I could do a background process drawing video for his podcast. It's One Louder, which is about rock and roll news and articles and things. So I don't usually draw portraits of guitar people, but that's what we're doing today. So I thought I would provide my process and my thoughts going through it, and then I'll provide a link to Pat's video so you guys can watch that if you're interested in Billy Gibbons, the guitarist from ZZ Top. So as usual, the background music on this video is by Jim Wild, and you can check him out on Bandcamp. So let's get to the drawing. So my friend Pat asked me to do this drawing for him for his channel, which posts videos and is a podcast also called It's One Louder. So it's all about rock and roll music, and he reads articles and talks about what's going on in rock and roll stuff. And so I wanted to first give you a bit of an idea, like why I thought this was a nice thing to do and why I don't really draw a whole lot of rock and roll portraits and stuff, but why I would do this type of thing that's a little bit out of my normal sort of ballpark. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about who Patrick is and our background. So Patrick and I went to elementary school together, and this is our grade 2 class photo, which is the only one that I have left. I have probably the other years somewhere in a box or whatever, but on my phone, this is the only elementary school class photo that I have. And Pat and I are standing in the back row, side by side. We were best friends in elementary school, and you can see the year on this is 1982. So we're both 7 years old, and we had been in kindergarten, grade 1, the whole thing together. So, we've known each other a long time. And being friends still to this day when you were friends back in 1982 is pretty cool. This is a close-up of us, that same photo, obviously. And so I'm the one in the maroon on the left, and Pat is in the, I don't know what the hell that is, blue vest and pants and bow tie. I'm going to run this past him before I post it. He asked me he was doing a video on Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, and so who's a guitar player. I don't really know anything about this stuff, but I went looking for a photo to use as a reference, and I picked this, a photo that accompanies this article, which was written by Matt Parker and Melissa Benfield Parker. That's the source of the photo. I have a screenshot of the photo itself too here. So this is the screenshot of the photo that I use. I picked this because it has kind of dynamic lighting, and I thought that it would make a good black and white ink version, just sort of mentally picturing which parts of it are going to be white and which parts of it I'm going to be able to black out. That was kind of my feeling for why this would be a good photo to use for the drawing. So let's get into the actual drawing itself. And I might be just kind of quiet for some of this because it goes on for a while, and I don't have commentary for the entire thing. But I'll pipe up when I think there's something interesting going on. Normally, I think these videos usually start with me having done the pencil already. So this is a chance, I guess, to see the process of the sketch that I do before I start inking stuff. And here I'm using trying to use a ruler to keep the guitar and stuff looking sort of realistic. I had this concern about that guitar people who are like these rock and roll types would be like more anal retentive about the way that I depict the guitar. So I thought I would have to be kind of careful about that. I'm using a simple I just drew a cross on the face where I wanted the eye, where I thought the eye should be, and the line going down the middle for the nose and the mouth and stuff, and use a simple rule about like the average nose length, mouth placement stuff. That's all kind of typical learning how to draw portraits and faces and stuff, which I'm still working on. I'm not perfect at it, but this one turned out pretty well. I think mostly because the guy is wearing shades, so I don't have to get the eye shape perfectly right or any of that kind of thing. It's just like get the nose and the giant beard and you're good. And I was kind of rewatching this. I'm a little bit impressed by how well I got the fingers done, like right away, just in the sketch part. That's pretty good. Some people have problems with hands and fingers and stuff. I usually don't, but I don't play the guitar or know anything about it. So I was just kind of going based off this photo, and I think that the finger placement looks pretty realistic, at least. And like I said, here I'm worrying about the parts of a guitar and trying to make it look like, kind of in my mind, I don't have a whole lot of guitar details stored away, so I'm sort of relying heavily on this photograph and what I think will actually show up once it's inked. I'm not bothering to draw the details that I don't think will be there, but and this is all just the patterning on his jacket and patterning on the guitar. There's lots of little filigree stuff that I want to make sure is at least evocative of the photo. I don't need it to be like photorealistic, but I do want it to look kind of at least reminiscent of the photograph and recognizable as the ZZ Top dude. So now I'm done with the pencil and I'm doing the first line of ink. I start off usually with a 0.1 sort of fine line type of outline, and then I'll start doing the details in 0.1 as well. All of that should be, like there's a lot of little details in this, and yeah, so this could take a little while. I'm mostly, as I'm doing it, I'm trying to picture what is going to be highlighted in the final drawing. So as I'm doing the little details, I'm thinking about this huge shape. I want to be all black. This part I want to be all white. This part I'm going to do some cross hatching on. And so like on the pant leg there, I'm thinking about how light I want those bits to be that are on the right side of the leg. And if I'm going to go black with the leg, or if I'm going to go just a cross hatch and then have the background be black, that's all stuff I'm sort of planning out as I'm drawing. Someone more practiced than me or who had a different process than me might do a whole draft drawing, planning that stuff out and then redraw it. But I'm not really at the stage where I'm doing multiple versions of every drawing. Once I start charging $1 million and I have more time to do everything, then I might move on to that. Like I could spend a week planning out a perfect drawing, but as it stands now, I'm trying to do a few drawings every day, so I'm not redrawing everything multiple times. Once I've got that outline done, I decided to do the background and the solid blacks so that I wouldn't have to worry about that element. So I started going out around him with my Copic marker. And this process, I sort of ran into some problems doing this. My marker, like doing the entire page in marker, would have been sort of expensive and would take a long time. So I wanted to switch to using a brush and ink. But the ink that I use is not alcohol-based when I'm using my brush. And so I wasn't sure how it would blend with the alcohol-based inks in the Copic marker. And the answer to that question was not great, but I had to sort of lay it on very thick. And then once the Copic had totally dried, go over it again with water-based ink, and then sort of wash the whole thing out, like fiddle with the contrast afterwards in Photoshop to make it look basically like one sort of layer of blacks. If you looked at this drawing in person, you would be able to see there's a bit of a black halo around him where the ink and the water-based, the alcohol-based inks, and the water-based inks didn't play well together. It doesn't end up making any difference for the drawing, but it's just something for me to remember when I'm doing this again, that the alcohol-based stuff makes a nice solid background without a whole lot of streaks or like issues with the, like it makes a nice solid black, but it just doesn't play well with water-based ink. So there's no, like if I do want to do a huge background with water-based, water-soluble inks, then I shouldn't use these Copic markers, even though I really like them. But that'll be for next time. For this time, I'm just sort of, as it's going, I'm still doing the parts that I want to be completely black with the marker. And I have the type of Copic the Copic sketch that has a nice sort of brush nib on it. It's got a really good, you can do wide spaces by pressing harder, and then you can get really fine detail by just using a very light touch. So you just use one marker. I just use one marker for everything. And then, but using my marker would be completely dry if I tried to do this entire piece of paper with it. So here I've switched to my brush and some watercolor inks, and you'll see right away that they don't, doesn't exactly cover the alcohol-based stuff that well. Yeah. This type of indigo or India ink does need like several layers anyway, but you can see here that it's not really, I mean, you can put it over the Copics, but like it's not settling in exactly the same way. Luckily, you let that dry, and then you put another layer on top of that, and you're slowly chipping away at this black by making layers of it. Yeah, I don't know. That's my process, I guess, is, you know, hand-drawn stuff is not going to be perfect. You know, like they have computers nowadays who can make something like totally flat and totally perfect and with perfect lines and everything. That's not really what you're trying to do, or not really what I'm trying to do anyway. And the people, hopefully the people who are my clients are like, they're aware of the fact that if they wanted like a photorealistic, perfect thing with perfect outcomes, they could get it probably cheaper and easier than hiring someone to hand draw it for them and do all this hand inking. But so I don't get too stressed about everything being super perfect and clean. Maybe I should more than I do, but my style of thing is mostly, it's got a lot of, I like to think of it as having more personality than just absolute perfection. Here I'm doing the little lines for the cross hatching, the areas that I want to be gray. It's all just going to be represented by little lines. And we've seen in other photo videos that like you could use stippling, or you could use, there's lots of ways to shade stuff using inks. This type of line I think is nice. You get to represent also the direction of the light in the direction of the lines that you're using, so that it adds a little dynamic sort of element to the lighting that's not just like black and a solid gray. Also, in the one thing that helps you cheat a little bit with black and white inking are these white gel markers that have like a white ink in them. You can do some, you can't quite erase the stuff that you've already done, but having a white gel marker means that you can highlight some of the stuff, and this is the sort of end step for me, is doing this white outline around the whole drawing, which I don't know why exactly it makes this nice emphasis, but it just creates a level of contrast and a level of shadow that wasn't there before. Anyway, that's the drawing. I think that it turned out looking pretty good compared to the photograph. I think this is a pretty cool type of drawing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have too many more comments besides that. I mean, it turned out a lot better than I thought it would. It looks like the guy to me. The lighting is nice, you know, the contrast. That black area around him sort of gets sorted out in the post-processing if you want to make it solid black. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the Billy Gibbons thing that I did for Pat. I'll put a link to Pat's video in the text of this, so you can watch Pat talk about Billy Gibbons while I'm drawing in the background without all of my dumb analysis on top of it. But for now, yeah, that's it. So that's the drawing. I hope that you liked seeing the process and hearing me talk a little bit about what's going on in my head when I was thinking it. This kind of stuff is, I think, important just to show, first of all, that things don't always work out exactly the way that you think that they will. And pen and ink is nice because ultimately you're just throwing a lot of ink around, and it covers up a lot of mistakes, which is helpful. I feel like it's not the most precise thing in the world, but it's a very sort of good human sort of creative medium to work in, where even if things aren't perfect, they still look really good. Anyway, so that's it for this week. And if you like this video, then come back next week for something completely different. Thanks.